Hello and welcome to the SEO plus AI show. My name is Josh Science SEO Bashinsky, and with me back from vacation, I have my business partner and friend, Greg Bassani. Say hi there, Greg.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back.
Greg was just regaling me as to how his trip went. So, Greg, how did your vacation go? Did you actually get to vacate or did you have to work?
Oh gosh, no, it was mostly vacation because it was a golf trip and there wasn't much time to work. But I did wake up early and did some work. So I'm not going to say it was 100% vacation. I'd say more like in the 90% range, which is always good. But left a little room for answering emails and just getting some stuff done. But it's good to be back. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking. And I know that some of the things that kept you busy while you were trying to have a vacation was we released keyword discovery on AppSumo. So for anyone who doesn't know, keyword discovery is now on AppSumo. I think it's still on AppSumo. Yes, this is correct. Yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and you can get it for an extremely low price. That's keyword discovery, which is just a portion of the Keyword Spy kind of full package. But it helps you do all of your niche research, helps you find the low hanging fruit, and helps you find the which keywords are easier to go for that'll get you more money, and that also has an advanced AI detector for competitive analysis. So it's a really good deal. So I suggest if you're interested, you might want to go over and take a look at that. Anyway, so before I get too much into those kinds of things, let me just introduce the show. So if you've never seen the SEO plus AI show before, we are a show about, you guessed it, SEO and AI, and the intersection of SEO and AI, and how SEO is being affected by AI, and how AI is all over SEO, and how the two are married completely together, whether you like it or not. That's the way the world is going, and the way the world is going to go. And we're doing a live show right now. So if you're watching live, please by all means ask any SEO questions you want on the right hand side. I think it'll be one over there, over here, or something like that. And also, we make a produced show out of the live show. So we also will cut bits out of this, and we'll make shorts. We'll make a live. We'll make produced show out of this as well. So you get to watch it again. So if you're watching that, you can also ask questions in the description below. If you want to make sure you catch all our shows, both the produced show and the live show, make sure to like and subscribe. The little buttons that should be down here. Click the bell, ding the cow, smack the sheep, whatever you're supposed to do to get notifications. I have no idea anymore with all these different systems and whatnot. And today, the topic of today's show is, again, people have been asking more questions about e-commerce, about how do I do this in e-commerce, how to do that in e-commerce with AI. So we're going to try to show you some really cool tricks and tips in our system of how you can do e-commerce with AI in our system Keyword Spy that we built, which is an advanced SEO tool. You could try it free for 2 weeks, no credit card, no email needed. And if you want to know where all the knowledge came from for all of this stuff that I'll be talking about, you can also join my underground SEO University. Just email me at Josh Bashinsky with the subject line Secret Sauce. And I will be able to give you a huge discount to the underground SEO University there as well for my watchers and listeners only. So, let me just check to make sure that plus AI show. My name is Josh Science SEO. Looks like it is going here. Great. So anyone, when you stumble on in here and you're watching live, by all means, ask any questions live that you want. So e-commerce SEO. That's what we're talking about today. So there's various ways. We talked about it before, but I want to cover bits of it again because there's various things you can do using AI to boost your e-commerce SEO. AI can help all kinds of SEO, but e-commerce SEO particularly. E-commerce SEO is really. I should take a couple steps back and talk about it this way. And Greg, I know you'll appreciate this. Is that quite frankly, there's no such thing as e-commerce SEO from a Google perspective. I know from our practices perspective of what we do and the kind of things that we think about and the kind of things that we do and what we typically bill for an e-commerce site could be called e-commerce SEO. But I should mention, and I've mentioned it on the show before, that there's no such thing as e-commerce SEO, just like there's no such thing as affiliate SEO. As far as Google is concerned, it's all a bunch of markup language with a bunch of text in it. And they machine learn the markup language and they machine learn the text and they run AIs in the markup language. They run AIs on the text and they don't have an e-commerce algorithm and they don't have a review. Well, they do have a review AI, but they don't have like an affiliate algorithm. They're all just web pages. Google's much more granular than that. Google's much more sophisticated than that. They use their AIs just to analyze the markup language and see they machine learn like what kind of markup language you're supposed to have or HTML you're supposed to have. Now, for those of you who don't know, and Buddha help you if this is news to you, that the web runs on something called a markup language called HTML. And it's kind of important to know it if you want to be able to optimize it for SEO. It could help you out, being able to know it to optimize for SEO. Or have a tool that can do it for you, like we're building into Keyword Spy. And it's just that in e-commerce, it's all about the sales and search funnel. For those people who know what the sales and search funnel is, let me draw you the sales and search funnel. If you've never seen the sales and search funnel before, here it is. I'll draw it. It is like this, the sales and search funnel. It's a funnel like that. And you have down here, right here, this is the information area. Right here is informational and transactional area. And here's a transactional area. And there's a last little bit, which is called the navigational area. Now, what does Google call this? Google calls this the know. Queries that they want to know. They want to know something. Google calls this the know-do. Queries where they want to know something or they want to do something. Or queries where they want to do something. This is Google's nomenclature. This is typically the SEO nomenclature, right? And then finally, there's navigational, where you've gone, this is the search and sales funnel. Now, you might be like, Josh, why are you talking to me about this? This is actually incredibly important when it comes to e-commerce SEO. This is actually incredibly important when it comes to any kind of SEO, quite frankly. And so it kind of follows the user on the search or sales path. So first they ask questions like, what is AI in SEO? Or how is AI affecting SEO? They want to know stuff. They're searching for information. Then they hear about this great new kind of SEO tool for AI for on-page called Keyword Spy. And they go, what is Keyword Spy? Or how can Keyword Spy help with my SEO? Or what are the best ways to use Keyword Spy to improve my SEO? Or what are the best ways to use AI to improve my SEO? And that in that case, they want to know something, but they also want to do something. They're getting closer to making that ever important transaction. This is where all the review space stuff occurs. Typically, although not necessarily, the review could also be an informational strictly as well. This is where a lot of the affiliate stuff occurs, is in these kinds of top 10 best kind of queries, typically. Also, local can exist here quite a lot as well. Now, it doesn't have to, but it can in the informational / transactional space. And even some e-commerce can also exist up here, where it would be appropriate. There's different kinds of markup language. It all has to do with the markup language for SEO that they would find here, different kinds of page types or page designs. For e-commerce, they might find product listings, or they might find a review style page with text and like a sidebar and stuff like that. They could find either of those kinds of pages or any kind of combination in between. And so this is why you need to understand this and why it's so important to have this idea kind of drilled into your head, is that this is what's important for SEO. All the rest of this is superfluous. This is all theory. This is where the rubber hits the road for SEO. That's a terrible arrow. This is where the rubber hits the road for SEO, is exactly what kind of markup language page is it? And if you do it, so this is what you need to do. So let me show you. So let me close the whiteboard. Let me share my screen here so Greg can see what I'm doing. Okay, yo, SEO Vancouver, how you doing? If you have any questions, by all means, ask them in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to use my default search that I use, and just so you can understand this default search, let me copy and paste this into a notepad so you can see and start to get a sense of how the professionals can manipulate Google's search results here. So this is the Google search that I use as a default, and it removes all personalization. It removes all tons and tons of the different kind of search features that Google uses that manipulates the SERPs. This is the way you would get a clean kind of search. If you wanted to isolate certain variables. Now, isolating certain variables is very important for doing search experiments. And search experiments are very important to know what the actual ranking factors are in general. And doing search experiments is also very important for knowing for diagnosing certain factors that might be at play in your given rankings. For example, there's all kind of tricks we can do to this search here, which is a standard Google search that we can do. There's all kind of tricks we can do to this to make different things happen here. So if you want to learn more about that, again, email me at joshpaczynski@gym.com to join SEO University, where you can also get big discounts with Keyword Spy there as well. Okay, so they kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to go through a little bit of this, but in the course, I go through this to much more in depth, but I'm going to go through this a little bit. So the geolocation I have set is US. You could set this to CA for Canada or UK for the UK. Or I mean, it's GB for Great Britain. I'm not really sure. Or different geolocations. Just search for standard geolocations in Google, and they'll give you the list. Also, the language is English. The personalization is 0, meaning there's no personalization set here. And then the query. The query is the search. And I use this clean search bar to get a sense, this clean search string, if you will, this clean URL string, to get clean searches without my personalization. And I can also search from certain geographic locations. And it can make a big difference in diagnosing kind of what's going on in various ways. So anyway, I was talking about, what the hell was I talking about? Greg, do you remember?
Yeah, sure. E-commerce and
I was talking about search funnel.
machine learned pages of
Oh,
e-commerce.
right.
And
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you, Greg. He's not only handsome, he's smart and remembers things. It helps me in what I'm doing. Okay. So, for example, let's do a kind of more review style query. So, best bicycles for a tween. Best bicycles for tweens. How about that? Now, this is an e-commerce query. In the SEO space, we'd call this an e-commerce query, right? Because there's going to be products listed, presumably, right? And Google's gives you their sponsored product listings as well. Now, you don't know if these are actually best for tweens. They're just bikes that they have. They have girls and boys bikes, which I guess presumes children or whatnot. But Google has not really implemented the best AI here to understand what this means. So let's say they click on this, although it's not quite the same. Tweens and teens are not the same. But let's say they click on this, right? Okay, so look what we got. We got a review style page. A review style page, which has a really good breakdown with a lot of data here. This could be a good page. It may not be a good page. Now you might be like, Josh, what do you mean this could be a good page? It looks like, do you mean like some users will like it and some don't? That's not what I mean at all. That's true that some users will find this useful and some users won't. And I think it's probably could be good that some users are going to like this extra information that they provide here if you scroll down far enough. This article goes on forever and ever and ever. That's not necessarily a good thing that I think all users will like. Some people in SEO tend to think that a longer article is better. They're completely wrong. They're completely and totally wrong. Here's the truth of it. Here is the truth of it, is that you have to please your users with good information, but good information isn't always the longest information. When's the last time you wanted to read a 5,000 word article on something? I don't. Do you? Greg, do you read a 5,000 word article on anything anymore, ever?
No, for fantasy football, I might, but I tend to just listen. I tend to just listen to people talk about it rather than read. But that would be maybe something, and then maybe something I really want to learn in SEO, or maybe for a kid's project that I'm helping them with. I may read that many words, but no. Not really.
Typically, no, we wouldn't do that. Speaking of which, by the way, you reminded me, you mentioned fantasy football. We should mention that coming up, we have a fantasy SEO league that we're starting. We're doing a fantasy SEO event, and we're looking currently for, what would you call them, Greg? Players or participants or?
It could be a team. It could be multiple people. Usually, it's just one person, and then you name your team something funny or you find witty. But yeah, team, player, participant, across the board, you can call it. And yeah, we need people who are interested in SEO and want to have some fun and are knowledgeable of SEO, and it should be a good time. I
Yeah,
actually think it's
and
a
possibly
pretty
even win some prizes. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? So,
there's definitely, yeah.
yeah. So if you're interested in joining our fantasy SEO league, email me again at joshpashinsky@gmail.com. Put it in the description, put it in the chat, and or that's enough contact information. You can also email Greg if you want at hello@trykeywordspy.com. There's all the contact information you could ever want. But keep that in mind. We're doing a fantasy SEO league. We're getting it prepared and getting ready to have enough players or participants or whatever to do kind of an event. And it's kind of funny and it's kind of fun. We got some serious SEO questions. We have some joke SEO questions, some scandalous SEO questions that might ruffle some feathers. So who knows? So we'll see. So anyway, just thank you for reminding me about that. So we've got that going on. Email us about that or message us if you're interested. So anyways, so here's the thing, guys, is that you have to please your users. But don't think of it like the Gesios think of SEO. You can't think of it like that. You need to think of it like how Google thinks of how they score web pages. And they don't look at it as an e-commerce page or a review page. You could have one or the other or both. It's all a statistical approximation of every single page in their corpus that is classified as this or that or ranks for these kinds of queries or not. So you need to take a look at what your competitors have and see what kind of pages they have to know what kind of page you should be making. That's the general eyeball way of doing it. We have a much more structured way of doing it that we're building out for Keyword Spy. We have a much more structured way we've discovered doing it in Underground SEO University, and we have a much more structured way we're doing it in Keyword Spy that we're building out called DOM Vector, which is a vectorization, vector embeddings of your document object model that Google machine learns. And so the quick and easy way to use that is to do a search in Google like I was doing and see the kinds of pages you got. And you'll be surprised. In the middle of the sales funnel, there might be review pages, there could be e-commerce pages, they might have some product pages in tables, they might have some products listed in divs, they might have some product listed in span tags they're moving around with CSS. It all depends on exactly how your industry does it. It all depends on the trends of design trends of how they do it. And this is why John Mueller recently said and Gary Illyes recently said that if you make a design change on your website, your rankings are definitely going to change. This is a little secret that I don't think a lot of people realize, is that Google's been telling you this point blank for quite some time, is that this is why when you make a design change, your rankings are definitely going to change because you're changing the underlying CSS and HTML, you're changing the document object model, and a lot of rankings, it's a big ranking factor, a lot of rankings depend on the document object model that we're building into Keyword Spy. So if you're interested in getting on the ground floor of that, it's a lot of AI, it's a lot of engineering, it's difficult to do. So we're working it out in stages and pieces. And when we do, the price is going to shoot up for the product for sure. If you're interested in getting a grandfathered price in Keyword Spy, again, you could try it free for 2 weeks. Go to trykeywordspy.com to try it free for 2 weeks. No email, no credit card needed. Don't even need to, just try it for free. We don't even need to know about you. And then if you want to sign on, you can get a grandfathered price. Don't pay the price on the webpage. You could pay the grandfather price of $144. Email me at joshpashinsky@gmail.com. I can give you the grandfather price. Or again, email Greg at hello@trykeywordspy.com. And you get the grandfather price at $144 per month. And that is grandfathered forever. And you'll be able to take advantage of these new AI tools as they come out, as we're building them, to take advantage of some of these ranking factors, exotic ranking factors that are big, huge factors that are kind of the actual way Google does it, that people don't even realize is the actual way that Google does it, that no one else can take advantage of, that basically almost no one else in the industry even knows about, quite frankly. So in Underground SEO University, we've discovered all this stuff, and now we're building out AIs to we could do it manually, but it takes a lot of time. It's very difficult. Now we're building out AIs to take advantage of all this ranking factors, these exotic ranking factors that we know about. But when it comes down to e-commerce SEO versus affiliate SEO versus any other kind of SEO, that's not how Google looks at it. Google looks at the machine learned document object model. What is the statistical approximation of all these pages? We also have some hypotheses. There's other ways they're doing it. Again, you need to join Underground SEO University. Some very interesting AI stuff that they might be doing there. You need to join Underground SEO University to find out more about it. But I could say that it's super interesting, some of the stuff that's going on there. All I will say for now for you guys is to do it manually is you need to do a search. You need to look at your competitors and see, okay, how many of them are a review style? How many of them are an e-commerce style with products listed? How are they listing the products? Is it in a div? Is it in a table? And try to replicate that kind of a design. And you can do that for two reasons. One, you can take it on faith because you haven't seen the proof because you're not part of the group. But when you're part of the group, you'll see the proof, the experiments, proving that Google has a document object model machine learning that they do. And that will give you a boost for Google. Not only will it give you a boost for Google, but also, two, and you should do it for this reason alone, it'll probably be what your users are looking for, right? Think of the sales funnel. Think of the sales or search funnel. Think where they're trying to go in their journey. And are they at the point where they want to see some products now with sales value propositions, like the pros and cons of why you should buy this, the price, the sales, the upselling, the bundling, the retargeting, and all the different kind of e-commerce conversion stuff you need to do and should be doing that we also teach in Underground SEO University. That kind of science in terms of A/B testing these things and finding out what actually boosts you, what actually boosts your conversions, which also will boost your SEO too, and also boost your sales. You should be doing it for those two reasons. You have two masters you need to, you have three masters really you need to please when you're doing SEO. One is the users, two is Google, three is your client or your CEO. Those are the three masters you need to please in SEO. And they all three of them need to be pleased. If you don't please Google, you're never going to rank. If you don't please the users, you're never going to sell, and you're going to have trouble ranking, and you're going to have trouble with your CEO. And if you don't please the CEO, if you have a good CEO, all they care about is the first two, Google and the users. If you've got a bad boss or a bad CEO, they also have vanity keywords they want to rank for, or they think they know how SEO works, which they don't. Trust me, they don't. I test SEO day in, day out. Trust me, no manager knows how SEO is working. You got to be a SEO specialist to know how it's working, quite frankly, these days. Sadly, they're going to make it more difficult for you, but that's okay. Get Keyword Spy. It'll improve your job so much. It'll take a 5-hour job down to 50 minutes easily. You'll be able to crank out pages every day with the highest level of on-page SEO being done for you automatically. And or join Underground SEO University, where I teach you so many awesome ranking factors that even with one hand tied behind your back, because your CEO is being a bit of a knob, let's admit it, because your CEO is being a bit of a knob, or your client is being annoying and not letting you do the full SEO, you'll still be able to beat the competitors and be competitive because of our ranking factors are so good, both in Keyword Spy and in Underground SEO University. Okay, so that's a very important concept to understand for e-commerce SEO is the sales and search funnel and how that works. Let me check here really quickly to see if we have any questions about that. Guys, have any questions, please by all means ask them in the chat here. If you guys have any questions, please by all means ask in the chat and I will answer them as soon as I can. All right, so when I did a search for Best Buy Sofa for Tweens, I got one review page from Two Wheeling Tots, but notice it says teens, not tweens. It's interesting. This one I got, again, see this one's got an e-commerce style Pinterest ad, and we got an e-commerce style page. So we got a review on e-commerce, more of a review page. This one is a review page. See, so the best query is often in the middle of the sales funnel. Often, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You might be surprised. Then we have a Reddit of people talking about it. That's interesting that that's there. Then we have a bunch of e-commerce results. People click these, otherwise Google wouldn't put them here. Then we have, again, a review style page. So it's looking like your page should, just from an anecdotal 10,000 foot view, be more of a review style page. But here we have an e-commerce page. Look at this. This is more of an e-commerce page, even though it's got kind of a pros and cons in it, which is good. This is interesting, Greg. Look at this. This is directly from Google's helpful content recommendations, to which we've built an AI to analyze, and we have a proprietary, no one else has this, a heat score in our system, which I'll show you in a second, which stands for
This,
helpfulness. Sorry, go
this
ahead.
was this was specifically the type of page that when I was mentioning to you before the show, one of the users was saying they're getting huge boosts from using helpful content. I forget exactly which ones he used, but he used the helpful content and the review prompts that we have in AI Spy, and put them on a page exactly like this, and saw huge boosts. So um, that's something hopefully we'll cover in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean, this is very fortuitous that it worked out this way. The helpful content and the review content AIs will seriously boost pages that give users good data, good information for good choices. And one of those things that they specifically ask for is pros and cons, or reasons to buy and reasons not to buy, or benefits and drawbacks. That specifically helps users make a buying decision. And so you can see this is getting a little further down into the sales funnel. And so not all pages are created the same. Not all pages are created the same, quite frankly. So this is very, very interesting how they're doing this here, quite frankly. So
So what'd you have? You had like three review or maybe four. You had a Reddit. You had an actual like a page you could buy stuff on,
yeah,
without like clicking over to an affiliate link.
yeah,
So you've got a nice mixed bag. You got user generated content, via Reddit. You've got authors writing stuff about bikes because they've obviously used them and now they're reviewing them, which seem to take up most of the top 10. But then you have a page that obviously is ranking, where you can actually buy. So, there's a nice little mixed bag of what Google's looking to, diversify their first page a little bit. So,
exactly. And there's a couple of reasons why that is. One is, again, because of the machine learning of the document object model, is that although visually they may not look the same to us, behind the scenes they could be working the same in terms of their object model. It also
mhm.
could be something else called query deserves diversity, where Google's like, okay, I've put enough review style pages here. Let's put a different kind of page here. This query deserves diversity. This search query deserves a diverse kind of set of responses for users to click. And then they also machine learn the clicks and decide what kind of page should rank there, and a bunch of other ranking factors about what should be going on there as well.
Mhm.
So it's so there's a lot of stuff going on that you have to kind of watch, and you really kind of need AI to kind of help you parse all that information and decide what it is you should have here. So let me go here to Keyword Spy and show you some of the things in action of what we're talking about here. I've got a couple different e-commerce queries that we could try to work with, and then Greg, if I've missed some of the other ways of doing it that you were talking about here with review snippets and whatnot, remind me, and we'll go through the tool, and we'll show you how we could use the tool to do these different kinds of things.
Okay.
So if we go here to the editor, and I'll pick one of these here, like whatever this is, Quasel lighting. Quasel lighting. I have no idea what this is. So if I generate an article, I'll generate I'll generate an article. I'll say the author is lighting experts, and I'll say I'm at the bottom of the sales funnel. We'll do the URL, the title, the meta description. We'll say we have a sale 30% off. Sale 30% off. If I have any kind of perks or good sales angle, I think I should definitely put that in there, and I'll say continue. So this will go on, and it'll completely write the article for us, giving us pretty good scores over here. And here, while we're looking at this, let me just show everybody what this is. So first off, we have the content score, which is this is the SEO score that you want. This is the depth score and spread to some degree of the keywords you're using. See, it's going through and it's generated the headings and subheadings. Now it's complete. Now it's writing the article. And it's building it section by section to ensure another acronym I use, SHEET, which is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek acronym, but it's the semantic keywords, the helpful keywords, the expertise keywords, the experience keywords, the authority keywords, and the trust keywords. Much like some of these keywords you're seeing here of how to buy and how not to buy, the helpful keywords that Google suggests and recommends that you should be using, we do this automatically through an AI and build it that can be used on any page. It can be used on any page. And a few people have been confused about, they're like, Josh, this isn't your auto-generated article is great for the top and the middle of the sales funnel, Josh, they say, but the bottom of the sales funnel, I don't see how this content can be used. And I would respectfully say, I don't think you understand. SEO text is SEO text. Like if you ask one SEO and the next SEO, quite frankly, SEO text is SEO text. And you would put the SEO text, maybe one paragraph above the products, and the rest of the paragraphs would go below the products to make sure you have the right numbers. The issue you need to think of, and the entire important thing you need to think of, is do you have the right numbers or not? That's the only question. So boom, it's done. It's got the latest trends, understanding latest trends, choosing the right, making the purchase, preparing, maximizing, boom, done. The question is, do you have the right numbers here or not to get the right SEO results? That's the question that you need to consider. That's the question that you need to think about. And the thing about e-commerce is that we have these big, huge sections taken up with the pros and cons and the prices, right? Whether this is this kind of a page or more back here, this kind of a page that we were looking at, we have all these tables with all this information that are also laden with keywords. And that can be the tricky part. So look at our heat score. Our heat score is 80%, and the average is only 63. So I'll talk about that in a second. The issue here is that there's a lot of keywords that, whether it's a review page or whether it's an e-commerce page that lists products like this or lists products like this on the page, there's keywords in all of this text that is skewing your numbers. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that your numbers are getting skewed by this kind of e-commerce content. It all counts, right? Both the paragraph counts, but also the products that you might be putting in the middle of the paragraphs count. And here's the problem, is that when we're trying to do SEO and we're putting in the EMQ, Quizzial, however you pronounce that, Quizzial lighting, I should have chosen a different one probably that I could have pronounced. But we see the EMQ is in here a whole bunch of times, right? When I go to content and I go to recheck work and I go here to words and the score, you can see the EMQ is being mentioned here 44 times already, right? And quite frankly, and here we have a spread problem too. We have a very highly scored word lamp not being used, highly scored bulb not being used, and Keyword Spy will point it out for you. Highly scored word brands not being used. Highly scored word fans not being used. I wouldn't worry about co at all. Highly scored word shop and sale and list not being used. These are all the way down to 10 I would worry about, quite frankly. Indoor not being used. So I would make sure those words are in there, and I would put them in there manually, quite frankly, is what I would do. And so it's the score that matters. Google doesn't give two shits if it's an e-commerce page or not, or a review page. They don't even know what that means. They do not, to my knowledge, yet have a classifier that is like, this is an e-commerce page. It must have the prefab e-commerce things. They don't do that, right? Because people build really weird pages. They build pages that look like this. They build pages that look, quite frankly, like this Reddit page. They build pages that look like this page. They have pages that look like all different kinds of things. And who's to say whether this is an e-commerce page or a review page? Who's to say? If they make a purchase on it, they make a purchase on it. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. All Google cares about is finding ways that the AI can track here we have pros and cons again, look at that. Ways that they can track the user satisfaction. And if you happen to make the user satisfied enough to make a purchase on their first or third search, then that's perfectly fine. In fact, that's better. That's better because you want them to make a purchase sooner, right? So at the end of the day, I can tell you from a theory perspective of understanding what Google does for 25 years and talking with Google employees and having private conversations with Google employees over my long storied career of 25 years. Just Google my name, you'll see. I can also tell you from a literally scientific testing perspective of reverse engineering what they've been saying and the secrets they've been giving out, but also reverse engineering how their algorithms work and knowing at a high level how their algorithms work. They don't give two shits, and they don't know an e-commerce page from a review page from a duck or an aardvark. That's not how they look at it. They look at the underlying HTML is what they look at, and they look at the structure of the page, and they're like, statistically, this is the kind of page that users want for this kind of query. So that's the kind of page that will get the boost in ranking, and that'll be scored with all the other scores they have, right? That'll be scored with everything else. The page structure in the DOM vector will be scored with the outline. It'll be scored with the content. It'll be scored with everything else that they have. The heat scores as well will be scored there. So at the end of the day, what Keyword Spy and AI can help you do is exactly what you need to do. You need to make sure, whether it's an e-commerce page or not, you need to make sure that you need to make sure that the score is correct, is what you need to do. For the content score, you need to be in the green. We've statistically proven that if you are within this range, you will get up to a 12 spot boost. If you're over this range, you will get a 6 to 8 spot demotion. If you're under this range, you will get, again, no, it was a 4 to 6 spot demotion. If you're under this range, you will get a 6 to 8 spot demotion. There is an over-optimization penalty and there is an under-optimization penalty. So this score has to be in the green, and no other tool tells you this number but us. This is a proprietary scoring system we use that no other AI has, that no other AI generates. So you need to make sure you are in this number. If you're not, I can't guarantee you'll get any ranking boost. In fact, I can guarantee if you left this number like this, you'll probably get a drop. So you need to actually still do some manual SEO and read this and change it and fix it. Now, we have an AI that can help you do that. All you need to do here is go down here. First off, check your word length. My word length is way higher than it needs to be. I could just start deleting words right away, right? I could just go boom, start deleting this stuff right away. It's way too long. And start getting this number down. Recheck this number. It'll start going down. Another thing I can do is I can highlight this and press the down score button. The down score button will have an AI intelligently, very intelligently rewrite this, and it'll both improve the content score numbers and it'll improve your predictability number, which is very important as well. Statistically, this number needs to be 4.1. Statistically is where you need to be. So then we'll do that, and then I'll do it here for this as well. And this will start reducing the numbers. As you're going to see in a second, this will start reducing your numbers as well. It might also reduce your heat numbers. You need to find a balance, right? You need to find a balance. Before I redo that, let me just finish this, and I'll show you also what the heat numbers are, because I didn't mention. If you're like, Josh, I don't understand what those heat numbers do. How do those heat numbers make it better? See, so this score should be slowly going down. It is going down. This score should be going down as well. The heat score, as I mentioned before, is a proprietary score that we have a proprietary intelligent AI which analyzes your content in the way Google would analyze your content and look for this kind of excellent, helpful content. And we'll give you an actual score out of 1 to 10 based on the actual questions that Google asks. Like, does the content provide a substantial, complete, or comprehensive description of the topic? Does the content provide original information? You get an 8 out of 10 for that, a 9 out of 10 for that. Does the content provide insightful analysis or interesting information beyond the obvious? You can get a 7 out of 10 for that. So this is all the questions I ask. There's a lot of questions I ask. Plus we've added one here for different kinds of, does the article unfairly target or show preferential treatment to any following protected classes, such as race, color, ancestry, blah, 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 blah. We have that question in there as well because some of our users asked for it because some of their clients care about this. And so we also give you a score on that if you're got a problem there as well. And we give you a proprietary heat score, which is very important. So slowly, if you go through here, you will improve the article. You'll get the score down. You get the word count down to where it's supposed to be. The median word count of your competitors is 871. You'll get the predictability length down to where you need to be. You're already close to where your competitors are. For this number here is the one I care about the most. Also, this one is also already in the green, below 70% predictable. This is the amount of predictable words you used in a row. Just think of it in terms of the amount of predictable words you used in a row. This is using 4.3 predictable words in a row. You need to be at 4.1 predictable words in a row. That is statistically, because we see the rankings for everything. In the back end, we see the rankings for all the keywords. For example, here we just got a 20 spot boost for this keyword. We see the rankings in the back end for all the keywords, and we know statistically where it is you need to be to get the optimal rankings, and we can change this over time. And we're building a real-time system to be able to change the suggestions and change where you need to be. And now the EMQ lighting is lighting up, and it shows you how many times you want to. It shows you how many times you are using the EMQ. If you go in here in the SEO, it'll tell you how many times your competitors are on average using this EMQ. On average, they're using it 1.38 times. Your competitors are, quite frankly. So this page is way, way, way over optimized. You need to go and start removing that stuff in there, quite frankly. And how many times are using it in the H1 or the various headings as well. You need to go in there and edit that. We're building AI systems that will be able to do this for you automatically in the future, but we're building it step by step, slowly. And right now we've got a pretty good system going. So right now you have to manually do this, but that's fine. You need to manually read through it. This is really only a first draft or a spray and pray. It's good enough for spray and pray, but really you'd need to edit this, minimize the scores, check to see how many times you're saying the EMQ. Make sure you're not saying it more times than you should be. We also did the title as well, a great title. We also did a meta description, a great meta description with the 30% off sale that I mentioned, which is a really good thing. And we're using your highly scored words that we found in reverse engineering their AIs and building you your own models. We have proprietary keywords that are guaranteed to be more boosting and better for you if you have them in the right ratio, based on all of our stats. Again, because we see all the rankings in the back end. So not only have we scientifically tested in single variable testing, we're also using top correlative statistical methods to find out what all your rankings should be. Okay. So you're like, okay, that's great, Josh. I could see how I could do that for any kind of page, not only an e-commerce page, and I could get the most helpful content that is going to boost you, because this is a ranking factor, as Greg mentioned earlier. But here's the thing you need to remember. The thing you need to remember that many people here forget, sorry, let me get rid of that. The thing you need to remember that many people here forget is that the e-commerce page also often has products on it. And that often comes from a sometimes antiquated, different kind of back-end system that imports the content that will be interspersed with your SEO text. And so the final page is what you need to check for the content score, is what you need to check. So what you need to do is you need to pull in the final page, get the products in there, and then backtrack from there as to how much SEO text you're allowed to add or SEO text you might need to remove, because the products might already be over optimized. So that's another little caveat you need to remember with e-commerce SEO, is that you need to backfill it, so to speak. You know, because quite often when you're working with SEO, with e-commerce customers, which I've worked with a ton over 25 years, is quite often they have this often antiquated, sometimes a separate product system that they're pulling in to get the products on the web page that you might not be considering in your WordPress, or you might not be considering in your SEO tool, Keyword Spy notwithstanding. So what you need to do to make sure that you have the absolute right, correct numbers, to make sure that you're going to rank, get your 12 spot boost that we're guaranteeing you'll get if you're in the green, you need to pull in those products first before you even write that SEO text that I wrote. I was just kind of showing you that's how it works. You need to pull in the products first, and then it tells you how much SEO text you need to add to bump up the numbers to where you need to be. Or quite frankly, sometimes your e-commerce client already is over-optimized sometimes. So what you need to do then is tell the client, sorry, your numbers are too high. You need to remove products until you get this, and then you'll be in the right ratios to be competitive with all your other customers. All your other competitors. So let me show you how you would do that. So let me quickly grab an e-commerce page here from my email. So let me do that here. So bear with me. I don't want to show everybody my email here. So here we go. Let me find it from the customer. Okay, so here we are. So here's Quizzable Lighting, or whatever it is. So here's a customer of mine. They're a great customer. If you need to buy any lamps, by the way, they do have 30% off the whole site. I would highly recommend it. Here's their page where they have all these products. And they've got a lot of products on the page already, right? So what would happen, you might ask, okay, just as an example, Josh, what would happen if you used this page? Okay, well, let's check it out. So let's take this and go into Keyword Spy, and I will take this and I'll delete all this. Okay, let's delete it. And I'll say import, and I'll put the URL to import here, and I'll import it. All right, and what I'll do, and I'll close, and what I will do is I will get rid of the top. This is the top navigation I will get rid of, because Google will probably determine this is the top navigation, and the page really starts at the breadcrumbs here. So in Keyword Spy, you can get rid of that. And then at the bottom, I'll get rid of the footer. It probably will end about here to join our subscriber list, and this will be considered a footer. And so I'll get rid of that, and I'll just be having all the products, all the tons of products they have. Now, right away, we have a problem. Look at this. And Greg, I'm sure you'll see and agree. Our page is 2,300 words. The average page is 871 for this Quizzable Lighting, whatever Quizzy old, whatever this is. So right away, I know my numbers are going to be off. So let's check this. I'll bet you it'll be too high. Boom. Look at that. Well, no wonder he's having trouble ranking this page. He is way over optimized. Let's check his heat score.
He just has too many products on the page.
Yeah, exactly. He's got too many products. And the reason why I'm showing everybody this is because it's a perfect example. And look how unhelpful the page is, right? It only has 6 out of 10 scores, even a 5 out of 10 score. Are you using extensive automation to produce some content on many topics? Yes, obviously he is. Are you producing lots of content on many different topics in hopes that some of it might perform in search results? Yes, you could think he's keyword stuffing, given that his score is 104. He is 70 points above where he needs to be. He's way higher than he needs to be here. We got, are you providing background about how automation or AI generation is used to create it? No. Are you producing lots of content on different topics in hopes that some of it might perform well in search? Yes. And our AI is very good at detecting when you're doing this, right? It's very good at detecting low quality content, and your score will reflect that. And it's a little bit better than the competitors. Or no, it's a little bit worse. He's 62, they're 63. So it's a little bit worse. And quite frankly, let's check the quality of it in terms of how many predictable words are in a row used on average. That's the score that really matters statistically. And it'll come up with the score there. It could be a problem. It may or may not. So it's running here. So basically, oh, geez, so look at this. So the average predictability is he's using 12 and a half predictable words on average. It's a very prefab e-commerce page where you might be like, Josh, okay, well, that happens often. It does happen on e-commerce pages that this will be higher because there's a lot of common predictable words in a row, like the breadcrumbs, like this kind of product descriptions that are using a lot. There's a lot of competitors that be using this exact product description that you'll get. Okay, that's fine, but here's the problem. Statistically, you need to be at 4.1 here to have the best rankings. If you don't, I can't guarantee anything, right? As an SEO and as the maker and creator of Keyword Spy, the engineer designer of Keyword Spy, and as a search scientist who tests these things, I can't guarantee any rankings at this high of a average word predictability, especially when your competitors are at 4.21. The competitors are at 4.21. They found a way to not have such a predictable page. Sorry, that means you have to too. There's nothing I can do about it, right? There's nothing I, as the SEO, can do about that. I can't just do some SEO magic, right? The best title tag in the world here, which this is a good title tag, and the best meta description in the world here is going to do nothing against the score of way over optimized at 104 and a score of way too predictable at 12.58. The stats don't lie. The stats don't lie.
would you go and look at the competition, or how would you start to address this?
The only way to address this is get the numbers where they need to be. And that means we need to delete like half the products on this page. First off, we have way too many products on this page. And that's just the way it is. Now, I don't know if that's because all this view all content, Google is pulling it in here. I don't know if that's the case. It could be the way this is programmed. It could be because this is just way too many products on the page. Probably because it doesn't scroll down that far when I do it this way. It might be including all this the way that it's coded. You need to start getting into the code and see how this is coded. And seeing, oh no, that's is that an Ajax call? I'm not really sure what did that. But if this is what Google is pulling in this whole thing, you can check here with, you can use the cache to see how Google is pulling it in. And Google has, look at all the products Google has when you pull it in the cache. This is how Google is seeing the page. It's way too much. You need to remove some of this. This is how Google is seeing it, right? You can also go up at the top here and click text only version. And that'll also show you how Google is seeing it. They're seeing way too much content in the page. Look, and it's double. The alt attribute might also have this as well. So you need to start looking in the code, and the code matters. I'm sorry, it's just the way that it is. So for this, the client needs to look into the code. They need to have a SEO on staff, quite frankly. Here's another issue that I see happens a lot, is that I got a lot of customers who are like, they think SEO is an afterthought. And this is for e-commerce SEO. But it's not only e-commerce SEO, but it is specifically for e-commerce SEO. SEO has been an afterthought for them for the last 20 years. And so they think they can keep operating that way. And they think they can just build any kind of system, which quite frankly, between you and me, is not that great of a system, not very good programming built. And they think that they can just do SEO as an afterthought. And sorry, that's just not the way that it is. They need to buckle down and get an SEO consultant on retainer and pay them a lot of money to advise them a lot. And or they need to get an SEO on staff who can advise them a lot, because they need a lot of SEO advice of the kind of the nature that I just mentioned. They need to crawl around every page and find out, all right, is the code that's putting all these products in here? Why are these products in here twice? They need to go here. They need to have the experience and the expertise to know what to look for. So maybe they should be joining an underground SEO university, because that's where the top level SEOs are. And or they need to hire an SEO who's been doing it for 20, 25 years, as I have. And they need to have them on retainer and or or an employee, because there's no other way to get around it. You need someone advising you 8 hours a day. There's a lot of work to do here. It's not just about firing some tool and just doing your title tags. I'm sorry, it's just not the way that it is. And that's for this client in particular, for e-commerce SEO. But it's also going to be for a lot of other kind of SEO, but especially e-commerce SEO. Because e-commerce SEO is the most technical, the most difficult, the most where you run into the most problems because it has the most programming. And the programmers might have done, without knowing it, I'm not blaming the programmers, because they're not SEOs, they don't know what to do. They might have done it the quickest, easiest, dirtiest way, which is not always going to be which quite frankly is not going to be the best way. And so you can't sacrifice quality in some cases. In some cases you can sacrifice quality, but in some cases you just can't. It's just the way that it is. And when the result matters, as it does quite often in SEO, the result matters, you need to have someone crawl through it and find all these little problems and go, oh, look at this. This is the way Google is seeing it. It's in here twice. That's why we have such a high score of 12.58. And you need to get that score down to guarantee the rankings. That means you need to make it not be doing it twice. It also means it can't be so many different products in general. It's listing every product twice, description twice, the product name twice, and it's listing too many products per page, period. And that, at the end of the day, is what you need to do so often in e-commerce. That's why I'm mentioning this for the e-commerce episode, is that this happens so often in e-commerce. I see it a lot. You are more than double. You are almost 4 times or 3 times. You're about 3 times, roughly, a little bit less, than 3 times the amount of content on this page that you're supposed to have, is what you're supposed to be having here. Another thing you can do is you could use you can use AI to rewrite this. Like let's say I removed all the doubles here, and this went down to 6.25 predictability. It's still way higher than competitors, and it's still way higher at 6.25 average words, in order to be bad. It's still way too high at 6.25 if I limited it by reducing this duplication you got going on here, right? And everyone knows in SEO, duplication is not good. It's something you need to remove. Well, here's a specific kind of duplication you need to remove for this kind of page. And for e-commerce, you might see this all the time, right? So even if I got this down to 6.25, you're like, Josh, is that good enough? No, it's still 2 points whole higher. It's still 2 words on average higher, being predictable. And that's the kind of content that statistically we find does not rank very well. We see a precipitous drop in rankings when you are 2 points above what you're supposed to be here, which is 4.1. 4.1, 3.9 to 4.1 is the number 1 to number 2 spot on average out of thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. So that's where you need to be to guarantee the rankings. So getting down to 6.25 and fixing this kind of duplication would be better for sure, but is it good enough? Nope, it might not be good enough. Then what would you do? Well, here's where AI could help you there. Then you would take a description, a name like this, and you could go to Keyword Spy, possibly. There's ways. Greg, you could think of a way in Keyword Spy this could be done. But the easiest way here would be go to ChatGPT and say, please add the best, most enticing CTAs in this product name in order to separate the existing words out a bit. And then I could say I could do that. And then you could make an API that would run this through for you. And then I could, for the API, I would say, no meta talk. Please just give me the rewritten name. And it'll rewrite it. It'll do it out for you. So as it says, this is quite long. It may not be ideal for every platform or medium. Adjustments might be necessary. But quite frankly, this is giving you a rewrite of this. So it's not so duplicated. And you might be able to get a product name and a product description that's redone that could be better. But again, you're going to be increasing your word count by doing that. And the whole idea of this is to decrease the word count, quite frankly. So what I would do is I would go to the client and I would say, look, you tell me out of all these, how many products need to be here? What are your best-selling products? Limit this to the best sellers, quite frankly, and then have a more at the bottom where they can see more products, but it's on a different URL. It's not the same URL. We need to paginate this is what we would need to do. And you need to do some programming to do that, quite frankly. SEO also...
sorry. Go ahead.
SEO... you go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, one way you could, like, once you narrow this down to say like 10 products, let's say that's the number, then you can go into beta tools and use definitely the pros and cons prompt, and maybe demonstrate firsthand expertise and depth of knowledge, and then actually just put in the actual product. So copy and paste those product names, put them in there, and use like 2 prompts and take that text, put that right in the page, because this guy who's doing it is seeing huge boosts. But I think the key is really getting to the number of products that are the best sellers, like you said, and narrowing that down.
Yeah, so let's try that out. So I put it in the chat here. I put the product name in the chat. I turned on multiple participant screen sharing. Let's go ahead and test it out. This is not quite what Beta Tools is engineered for, but but we could probably do a pretty good job in Keyword Spy. So take the product name there, and Greg, if you can, let's run through it and see. But you're right. Ultimately, he has way too many products. He would need to reduce them. But this is another thing he could do to reduce it even further. So let's see here. So you go to Beta Tools, which used to be called AI Spy. Choose your language. You'd put that in there.
I don't know if I need this code here, but I'll leave it.
That's probably
Um,
the product SKU or something. So demonstrate firsthand experience and a depth of knowledge with it, and discuss the benefits and drawbacks. That's where you would get the pros and cons that we've been seeing people were liking. And presto changeo, voila! The AI is a subject matter expert, and will be able to give you, as long as it's not something that has been made in the last 2 years. Although our high quality article is up and current and up to date as well, but the beta tools is not. And it says here, boom, here's the firsthand experience and depth of knowledge of using it, and it gives you a product description that can help you with the content, and then the pros and cons. And awesome, it gives you pros and cons: energy efficient, modern
yeah,
design, versatile
I think
functionality.
like this is exactly. I mean, I would try this first. Honestly, if I
Yeah,
had that page, really narrow down those products and then insert this content. Um, you could test it out and see, how predictable it is, but I bet it's pretty good. Um,
so we'll paste it in here into our AI detector.
I mean, it's better than what the client had,
Yeah, yeah, that's quite
for
good.
when you could fix it.
Yeah, it's quite good already, and it shows you with the green and yellow where you could start breaking it up manually as well. I could put in the word less energy when compared to traditional lighting, or I could. It depends on. Uh,
Yeah,
it depends on the writing style you want. I could do less energy when compared to ye olde traditional lighting. If I want more of a humorous, a more of a humorous kind of writing, or more of a personality in the writing. Older lighting options, yeah. So that if you choose beyond the top 10K or top 10 tokens that would get replaced there, or words that would get replaced there, then suddenly it'll get better. So you'll see here, boom. So this is already within the green. That's all. That's the only change you need to make there. You can see in yellow how it was changed. The word when wasn't under the 10, so it was not a good addition.
no, it was still in the 10.
It was
Yeah.
still in the 10,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I think that's probably. Um, I think I had lost my.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I lost the results, but
You copied one to the clipboard. You copied the pros and cons to your clipboard.
oh, did I?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let me.
So yeah, so that's a great example. Thanks, Greg, for showing us that.
Get it.
You need to have the AI understand what the helpful content is. You need to have the AI understand what the review content is. Those are specific questions and AIs that are machine learned and engineered and fine tuned to give you helpful content, to be subject matter experts, to give the user what it is they want. And quite often, you saw the average heat score for the competition on the one query I looked at there. It was only 62 or 63. That's not the greatest score. There's a lot of 6 out of 10s and 5 out of 10s there. So you can have, and if you're like Josh, the helpful content AI and the review content AI only applies to review content. I don't have to be helpful on my webpage. Bull crap, you don't. Bull crap, you don't. I've tested this. I know for a fact. You will get a boost, and it's important to be helpful on every single web page you make. That's why we have this proprietary heat score and this whole AI structured, engineered AI built and fine tuned for it to give you helpful content. And it's a subject matter expert on anything and everything on the interwebs. There's a couple things it won't be that good at that people don't write about very much, but it's going to be a better subject matter expert at more things than you are as an SEO. I'll guarantee you that. So that's why we built it. Now, as SEOs, we don't have to learn to be a lawyer anymore. We don't have to learn to be a product expert anymore. We don't have to learn to be a review expert anymore. The AI is an expert. Let it do the heavy lifting for you in Keyword Spy. So again, we're super proud of our heat score. It is giving boost to a lot of people, and it's something that will help every single web page you have, not only your e-commerce style pages. So let me check what time it is. Sorry, just want to check the time. All right, so let me check to see here. Uh, Oops, sorry, Raluca. I'm flipping this around. Let me check to see here what kind of questions we got here. No other questions. That's fantastic. No other problem. So, guys, if you have any questions, by all means, put them in there. So, again, the biggest issue for using AI with SEO with e-commerce SEO is rewriting those product names to get the predictable words down if you need to, if you want to. Rewriting product descriptions, you can do that here in Keyword Spy. You can do the high quality article and get the SEO text in there if you have room for the SEO text. If you have room for the SEO text. But I'll bet you dollars to donuts, a lot of these guys in e-commerce, you've got check to see what Google thinks your page has. Not what you visually see, how Google's looking at it. Use the CACHE at the beginning of the URL to see how Google looks at it. It might give you a 4.4. If it does, that means Google just respidered your page and they haven't fully cached it yet. There's a delay between spidering the page and fully processing it. So there's just a delay in doing that. But eventually they'll have it. Check to see how Google sees it with the CACH operator in front of your URL in Chrome. I believe it'll work in Chrome. I'm not sure if it'll work in other browsers, but it will work in Chrome. And see how Google uses it and import that actual content, copy and paste it into Keyword Spy, or use the import button and import it into Keyword Spy and check your content numbers, check your heat numbers, and check your average predictability numbers. If those are not in the green, well, you don't have a green for heat. You want that to be as high as possible. You can never over-optimize. You can never make it too helpful. So make the heat score as high as possible. If you need to manually add in some pros and cons list, go to Beta Tools and add it in. If you need to manually add in some other helpful content, go to Beta Tools and manually add it in. Or if you only want to do that with product descriptions, go to Beta Tools, add it in. You can manually boost your product descriptions that way and get good boosts for sure. Look in new tools in the future, new features in the future. We might have an automatic e-commerce add in like your product SKUs here or description or name here. Put 1,000 in and we'll crank out 1,000 product descriptions. Like we could do those kinds of things. Look for those kinds of features in the future. But that means the price goes up for Keyword Spy, guys, when we engineer and put new stuff in it. You might want to get on the ground for the price now. Email me at joshbrzezinski@gmail.com to get a huge discount on Keyword Spy. You can also try Keyword Spy for free at trykeywordspy.com for free. Again, no credit card needed for 2 weeks and no email needed either. So check your scores, guys. A lot of times in e-commerce, the score is way too high. You don't get a special pass because it's an e-commerce page. I talk to SEOs and they're like, oh, well, that's an e-commerce page. You can ignore the products. No, you can't. The products are definitely part of the rankings in multiple different algorithms and multiple different AIs. And Keyword Spy will show you what your score is for those different AIs and what you need to change and what you need to fix. All right, Greg, do you have any final questions there? Let me just check. Any final comments you want to make? Let me just check to see if there's any questions. Back to your roots, Herb says, thank you, Josh and Greg, for everything. Great video. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Greg, do you have any final comments, my friend, before we sign off?
No, I'm good, Josh. Thanks. Learned a lot today and look forward to next week. And hopefully we can demo a new feature like you had mentioned called Page Audit and doing some audits that really, for me personally, I have an existing sites and I'm not going to create new pages per se. I want to just optimize. And so I think the page audit feature is going to be very, very helpful. So hopefully we'll be able to maybe do a little demo of that next week.
Yeah. So still early stages, still in beta. But yeah, this is super exciting, guys. So there is no good audit software out there. I know I might have just said sacrilege. Everyone would be like, what? What? How could you say this, Josh? I know Greg won't be surprised that I said something sacrilegious. Let me get Greg's face in here so you can get the facial reactions of Greg as well as I say ludicrous stuff. But quite frankly, in my opinion, there is no good audit software out there. They're just not good enough. They do a tech audit. It shows you a couple things, right? Screaming Frog will crawl some things. They show you if you have duplicate titles. That's useful. Maybe they show you if you've got some duplicate H1s or something like that. They do some stuff like that. But guys, AI is here. And no one yet has built out the premier, top level, next level intelligent AI SEO co-pilot. we are building out in Keyword Spy the next level SEI, the next level AI SEO Copilot. It's a tongue twister to say. The next level AI SEO Copilot. We were building it out, and we've already built it out with on-page SEO for Keyword Spy, and also for niche discovery with Keyword Discovery. Again, if you want to get a super easy, cheap deal on Keyword Discovery, go to AppSumo. We've got a super cheap deal for Keyword Discovery only, that widget only, on AppSumo. Check it out. Ignore all the haters on there. The problem was with all those comments is we had so many people buy Keyword Discovery on AppSumo, it crashed the server. So it's the nicest problem to have, and that's why you're going to see some of the negative comments on there. But trust me, guys, we're upgrading the servers. We know there's growing pains. But this is the best SEO software that exists, and it's only going to get better. In one way, it's going to get better is this page audit we're talking about. I'm engineering a super next level AI that does chain of thought thinking, tree of thought thinking, ideation thinking, like Auto GPT or Agent GPT, but specifically for auditing a web page, their SEO and everything you need to do. And it's going to tell you stuff that no other tool can do you. It's going to tell you stuff that no other tool can do. It's going to tell you stuff that no other SEO can tell you, that only AI could see, that only AI could crunch those numbers, and only AI could see. It is going to take it's going to take SEO audits and move it to the next level. It's the future. It's the future of AI intelligence, of like all the kind of stuff you wanted and thought AI can do. We're going to do this with this auditing tool. It's going to first do pages, and then it's going to do sites. And then we're going to build it out to do even more stuff. So guys, I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm telling you, get in on the ground floor. Get the grandfathered price. It's going to cost more when it does all this stuff, guys. So get on the ground floor, get your grandfathered price. Email me at joshpachinski@gmail.com. I'll send you the coupon code for the grandfathered price. It is way cheaper than the current price we have. And also we have a super cheap, just for our listeners on the show, we have a super cheap, and I'm telling you to do this, otherwise I'm losing money, right? You know I love my listeners and watchers when I'm telling you stuff that's going to lose me and Greg money. But to reward you guys for listening on the show, go to AppSumo and get your deal for Keyword Discovery there. And also, or get the grandfathered price for Keyword Spy. It's a great bundle price for beta tools, for Keyword Spy, for the editor, for reports, and for Keyword Discovery. It's a great grandfathered price there as well. And expect a beta of the page audits coming up in beta tools soon as well. All right, so I think that's about it for today. I'd like to thank Greg for chiming in as always, and I'd like to thank all you guys for watching. As I said, slap the monkey, hit the sheep, ding the bell, ring the ringer, whatever you need to do here to get on notified of when we're doing a show. Get on there, and we'll see you next week. And thanks everyone for listening and watching. And I don't have to say good luck in the SERPs, because when you're using our tools and you're a member of the university, you will get rankings. I'll say get to work. Don't be lazy. Get in there. Make the moves. You're going to see boosts. Get in the green, and we'll see you next time. All right, now how do I